Hi everyone, welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with the instant match reaction to one hell of an FA Cup tie there. Newcastle United 3, Birmingham City 2 down at St Andrews. That was a very, very difficult game. Massive fair credit to the Birmingham fans in the preview video, who were the nice Birmingham fans, the majority of them, I must say. Some couple of weirdos sneaking through the net, but that's YouTube for you. But most of them said this is going to be a real game for us. You know, they're going to bring it, and boy, did they bring it. We'll get stuck right into this in a minute. Talk about how the game went. Thank God we won the game. Thank God nobody was hurt. More on the referee in a second. But if that's the kind of thing you guys like, your channel's out for the first time, smash subscribe. Help get us to the next milestone, which is going to be 10,000 subs. We're so close. I think we're within 160 or something of it now, which is amazing. So thank you so much. We're way ahead of schedule. I didn't think we were going to get a 10K this early in the year. So massive thank you from me and Mark for everyone who's hit that button. And if you haven't, smash it. Why not? It's free. So let's get stuck here. This is how we lined up today against Birmingham City. Now, some surprises in here, to be honest with you. We kind of called most of the team. Nick Pope in goal, Kraft coming in, Tino coming back, Emil Kraft at the back, Target, Burns still starting. But the big one was Bruno. I didn't think Bruno would start the game. I was quite surprised at that. The rest of the team kind of picked itself, but obviously the plan from Eddie all along was to have Bruno do one half, and then, as it turned out, Tonali do the other half. But it was nice to see Callum Wilson starting the game again, you know, after such a long time. I think the scariest stat was that this was Callum Wilson's first FA Cup game for Newcastle since 2020. That's quite terrifying, that, to be honest with you. That shows how injured he's been. But Callum was decent in the game, and we'll get stuck right into that as well. And obviously the Birmingham team, I didn't know a great deal about them apart from the centre forward, which is Stansfield. I got that wrong in the preview. And one particular helmet, they claimed to be a Birmingham fan. Got a bit upset about it. I was a little bit man through those, so there you go, mate. I answered you didn't answer back because clearly you had nothing else to say. But Newcastle got into the game, massive, you know, raucous atmosphere in St Andrews. You know, was once a Premier League side, was once a cup winning side, as I did say in the preview as well. And their fans were buzzing for this game. You know, this was a big fish back in the pond. You know, this was their chance to feel like they were back in those days of the Premier League. And if they wanted to feel any more like they were a Premier League team, BBC had them covered, because I had Matt Upson on commentary with whoever the other guy was. And from the first minute of the game, they basically wanted them to win and they wanted us to lose. You could tell. And every single part of the game was all talking about Birmingham City winning and everything else. And Newcastle kind of played into that narrative as well when we went behind, you know, after about 45 seconds or 50 seconds or something like that. So a cross came in. I don't know what Sean Longstaff was doing. I don't know whether he saw a mate in the crowd or something. He just looked completely lost. Didn't know what he was doing. Ball comes over. Laird flicks a foot at it. Hits off Callum Wilson. Goes in the back of the net. We're 1-0 down within a minute of the game. And you're thinking, holy shit, what's happened here? You know, and Birmingham was rocking. You know, St Andrews was rocking. They were all up for it. And we really were into a game. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. We were trying to get the ball down. We were trying to play. We had the majority of the possession, some nice little passing moves. Willock looked up for it. You know, Wilson, I mean, to be fair, just before the goal went as well, Wilson ran and he like kind of forearm smashed the centre half. And he had a shiner. I don't know if he had a shiner before that with Wilson, but Wilson is not the kind of player to fuck around with. You know, Callum Wilson's come up through the leagues. You know, he may look like a pretty boy Premier League footballer, but Wilson will battle with you. There ain't no doubt about that at all. And he did battle tonight, Wilson, as well, for when he was on the pitch. But we were digging in. You know, and again, Birmingham looked lively as well. Stansfield looks a good little player. Me and Mark were swapping messages between the game, and there's a touch of the Jamie Vardy's about that kid. There is no doubt about it. He was a real little shithouse, but good movement as well. You know, young lad, 22-year-old, got to be saying he could be a really, really good player, moving forward. But we did get back into the game on a bit of a controversial note as well. A lovely bit of play, a lovely ball over from Callum Wilson. Willisula gets involved, who was excellent on the right-hand side, I must say, in this game. Strength, pace, you know, control can let him down a little bit, but really, really involved in the majority of the first half. I was really, really impressed with Willisula. Really aggressive as well, getting stuck right in as well, getting kicked, getting up, getting on with it. But Callum Wilson puts a lovely ball across. I think it's Willisula that gets it back over. Ball comes in, and then Joe Willock kind of flicks a foot at it, and it's so quick. It looks like it's over the line, and then there's a little bit of a melee. The referee was dreadful. System referee's got his flag up. He's waving it as a goal. There's no goal line technology in League One sides. Not League Two, as I did say in the preview. And then again, that little helmet gave me shit again. But there you go. League One sides, there's no camera technology in League One sides, so can't really check it. But they gave the goal. It did look like the ball. The keeper was a good 2 or 3 yards behind, but then he leans forward and pushes it. So it's so difficult to tell whether it actually did fully go over the line or not. But the goal is given. There's a lovely bit of movement by Joe Willock, the kind of thing we used to see Joe Willock doing all the time. He hasn't done for a long time. And he sticks it at the back of the net, and we're back in the game. And then we really started to turn the screw a little bit on Birmingham after that. Our quality started to show, the transition of our play, the control, the passing from a Premier League side. And then Sean Longstaff, who pretty much did nothing most of the game, in all fairness, hits a beautiful pass down the channel. I think Asula's involved again, getting stuck in, wins it back. Ball comes back out of Sean. He slips a lovely ball through the channel. Ball gets whipped across the box. Joe Willock kind of prods at it. It hits Will Asula. I don't know how he misses it. He kind of swings the fresh air at it, hits him on the back heel. And then the ball goes up into the air, and Callum Wilson does what Callum Wilson does best. He reacts quick. He's a fox in the box. He scored goals like all his career. Kind of just stabs the ball with his studs in the back of net. It's a lovely finish. Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker in the studio, that's the kind of goal they scored all their careers, and they'd have loved that goal. There was some bullshit about them trying to say high feet. I don't know how it was high feet. The only player near him was a Newcastle player, so he wasn't going to kick his own player. So we were 2-1 up there, and you're thinking, right, Newcastle, we've got it now. We're in control. And then out of nowhere, the goal of the game comes. This is one of the best goals I've seen in the FA Cup in years. So Birmingham are pressing. They had a nice little header before that as well with Stansfield. Lovely bit of movement as well. Managed to get in front of Burn. For a little lad, he really did get some good headers in, and got in front of some really big defenders as well, it must be said. The ball comes out. I think it's Target heads the ball out. Bruno's kind of half asleep. The ball falls to a Water, and he hits this absolute thunder bastard of a shot into the back of there. Keeper's got no chance whatsoever. It's an absolute screamer. It wouldn't look out of place in the Premier League. It was the goal of the match by a country mile. And then we're back at 2-2, and you're thinking, oh my days, what on earth is going on here? So we go in for half-time, level, and you're thinking, this is an unbelievable game. We come out, there's a lot of needle going on, there's yellow cards, left, right, and centre. The referee was absolutely abysmal. Some of the challenges that were going in. He books Asula for getting up and having a go because he's been fouled about 20 times at this point. He has a little bit of a square up with a couple of Birmingham players. And to be fair, he booked both of them. And it was handbags at dawn. He didn't need to book either one of them, but he books them. Then he starts chucking yellow cards around like confetti. Then he lets some things slide. One of their players, I think it was Ben Davies, went right through the back of Will Asula. Really reckless challenge. And then because somebody else did a reckless challenge, he booked them and forgot about that one. And Mark texted me and said, this ref lost control of the game. I smell a red card here. And it looked like there was going to be a red card in the game. And then there was a big injury, a 50-50, not a foul at all by Louis Miley. I don't know how the Birmingham fans view it. Louis Miley's not that kind of a player. I think it's Leonard from Birmingham. He comes out 50-50, really brave challenge. Louis Miley's got to go for it. He puts his foot down. He catches the lad kind of in between his knee and his thigh, and he's down for a long time. It's about 7 or 8 minutes, I think it is, that he's down for. That adds so much injury time on to the game. But Joe Willock gets the winner in the 82nd minute. It's a lovely bit of play. Again, like I say, Sean Longstaff didn't do a great deal in the game. I thought he was a bit pedestrian. Was getting beaten by pace quite a lot. Some really slack passes, pulling out of some challenges as well. Not just him. Matty Target was pulling out challenges. Team Livramento was pulling out challenges. I wasn't very impressed with that, especially for, a blood and thunder FA Cup tie like this, where they really wanted it. And a lot of our lads were getting stuck in. Tonali came on in the second half. Someone's just reminded me in the comments there, and he was absolutely class. Bruno is probably at fault for that unbelievable strike. Bruno probably doesn't think he's going to shoot, but he's going to take 2 or 3 touches, so he's got time. But Tonali came on, and he was way better than Bruno. He was class on the ball. He was tracking back. He was flying at tackles. He was getting the ball back. He was getting fouled himself. Tonali was absolutely brilliant. Doesn't matter who you're playing. You could be playing Barcelona or Birmingham City, and Sandro Tonali delivers the same level of performance. But Joe Willock gets the winner in the end. The ball comes over. I think Sean's involved in the play. The ball slipped down the line. It's a bit of a bad touch by Sean, but then he flies into a tackle and he wins it back. Joe Willock actually started to move, a little bit of link between him and Louis Miley, and he follows the play in, and he just knocks a beautiful finish between the goalkeeper's legs. And then that's us winning 3-2. But 12 minutes injury time added on because of this atrocious referee and the stop-start nature of the game and the injury to Leonard. We hung on in the end. Nick Pope made a couple of really good saves, one with his feet in particular. But yeah, wow, I'll breathe for a second. What an unbelievable FA Cup tie. Great for the neutrals, by the way. And my dad, who's actually recovering from surgery in hospital right now, was watching that. I don't think he'll probably watch this, my dad, to be fair, because he won't be on YouTube. But big up to my dad. Get well soon, Jimmy C. And he enjoyed that game as a neutral as well. So let's get stuck in some of your comments then. So Robert's saying at least 3 of their players should be in handcuffs. Absolutely. Roger says they were filthy. It was a proper cup tie, Rogers. Those kind of games you'd expect those tackles to go in. Lucky Ducky saying, how is it not a red card with Willock in the Horn? That was bad. He was so late as well, wasn't he? He didn't even look at the ball. Was it the big centre-half? Who was the big centre-half? Clara, that was it. He just absolutely smashed him into the central advertising boards. Didn't even look at it at all. So yeah, I think that could have easily been a red on its own. Jason says, what a game that was. What a set of dirty bastards Birmingham were. They got a player, well, they got their player stretching off. Absolutely. I hope there's no bad injury to Dan Burn as well. He went off. It takes a lot for Dan Burn to go off. So hopefully it's just a case of fatigue and too much football, is maybe just a little bit wear and tear, and he's just pulled something and he'll be all right. Yeah, Marcus, that was brutal. Absolutely. George says, get the win and get the hell out of Birmingham and never go back. That's my take, mate. I don't like Birmingham, my least favourite city. I did say that in the preview. Some of them were a bit upset, but I just don't like it. This is not a very nice city. MRAL NUFC is saying, even everyone, that ref was shocking. He really, really was. Shearer 69 says, Longstaff, poor again. I don't know what's the matter with Sean Shearer. I really don't. In a game like that, he should be grabbing it and taking control at midfield. You know, he really should be bossing it. And the captain's armband towards the end. The weird thing was, as the game went on, Sean seemed to get better because he didn't really do much earlier on in the game. So he looked like he had more energy. I don't know whether he was conserving it. I don't know. But yeah, he just didn't look particularly great there, I must admit. Yeah, Chip as a ref was awful. Absolutely. Stephen says, Lisa Stansfield, brother, was the right little shit. I said, he's got a touch of the Vardy's about him. I said to Mark, funnily enough, I'd take him, 22 years old, if he's not going to be a big outlay. He's got pace, he's got a nice little bit of movement. And if he's a shithouse like Vardy, he'll do all right, because I like players like that. When they're playing for you, we had Craig Bellamy, remember? When they're playing against you, you hate them. Graham saying, firm, strong, and physical. What else would you expect? 2 levels below. Fantastic cup tie, just enough quality to get the job done. Absolutely. I was impressed with a lot of the players as well, who you wouldn't expect to thrive in a game like that. I thought Louis Miley dug in really well. He got stuck into a few challenges. Couldn't really get his passing and movement go. Nice, simple passes from Louis, but I thought he did really, really well tonight in the game. In terms of his passing, I'm just going to check his passing stats. 93% passing accuracy from Louis Miley. Again, he never seems to waste the ball, even when he's got everyone flying in on him like they are in this game. Willis Sula, again, just absolutely brilliant, to be fair. Just worked his arse off. Paul saying, the referee was spectacularly weak, completely lost control of the game. Very lucky somebody didn't get seriously hurt, Paul, to be fair, mate, and I'm glad they didn't. Stephen said, Willock's movement and finish for the winner was superb. That's the kind of thing we want to see from Joe Willock, Stephen. That's what makes Joe Willock, and hopefully this game will give him a nice little bit of confidence there to maybe get in those positions again and do what he does best. Kevin saying, low, solid away win, Willock, my man of the match. I'll give you mine in a second. Graham is saying, I saw that such a raw talent, quick, strong, and very long. It's quite lanky. It's all about development. He could be a real player in time. I think he's got the ingredients, the foundations to be a really good player. That first touch is good. The way he rolls it, drops his shoulder. He's done so many of them tonight with a couple of quick moves of the hips. I think if he just learns to control the ball maybe a little bit better, get his head up and look a little bit, because he's very much look at your feet and run. There is definitely a player in there. There is no doubt about it. I'm starting to change my tact on Willis Sula. If we've got time to work with him, I think he could be a really good player. Maybe a loan spell might be good for him. If we bring in another centre forward in the summer, send him to the Championship, have a good season, 25 goals or something, come back up, and he could be an excellent player. But he looked all right on the right, didn't he? I thought he disappeared when he went in the middle, but he looked really good on the right. MFS saying Tonali made such a difference. He's just class, isn't he, to be fair? Robert's saying, with all the chaos in the second half, it's kind of amazing there was only 1 goal. Absolutely, mate. It was a crazy, crazy game. Stout Stagger saying, we are now black, white, and blue. We're covered in bruises. It was definitely not one for the faint of heart, absolutely. But I'm proud of the lads to be able to play in a game like that and manage to get through that game, because it could have turned really ugly. Those are the games you see Premier League teams not fancy it. It's not their level. It's a bit too rough and tumble. But the lads stood up and they got stuck in, even the young players as well, which I think is a great sign for the future. If we can play a game like we can play Wednesday night against Arsenal and play quality football and open them up with pace and guile and skill and endeavour, and then we can play that game on Saturday. We've got to dig right in and get stuck in. Then if Newcastle can do both, then that's brilliant. That looks great for the squad. Ragatoni saying, how to sum it up, tasty, moody, proper cup match. Absolutely. Got a great cover there. I'm going to get to yours in a second, Stephen. Mark is saying, we certainly showed our mettle. Happy to win. Great rotation, really. Quite pleased with Target tonight. We give as good as we got physically. Yeah, he was good Target on the ball, but he did bottle a few challenges, though, mate. I don't like that. I want to see him get stuck in. I know he's not a proper hard-nosed player, but if Trips had played in that game, Trips would have got stuck in. That's his kind of bread and butter. In your face, Troy Deeney, says Stephen. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Mark is saying Joe might go on a run now. Conference player. Asula really rattled that lot. He did. I thought it was excellent. Absolutely brilliant. MFS is saying it's 9 a.m. in New Zealand watching this. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, mate. All the way over there. I'm sure your weather is nicer than it was in that cup tie. It was pissing it down and foggy and misty at one point. We could just make out Jasper Carrott in the crowd as the BBC spent at least 3 minutes trying to determine who he was before they talked about it. Ian is saying, fair play for Willock. Tough week for him. Now he needs to get back to his Brucey best days. I'd love him to get back that goal-scoring player. I think Eddie's almost coached that out of him, but tonight you saw that player's still there, that attacking midfielder who can arrive in the box and get goals is still there. We don't have a player like that. So as much as I like the overall work ethic that Eddie installs in these players, there's nothing wrong with letting Joe Willock just be Joe Willock and make late runs in the box and get goals that wins you games like that. Chris was saying, tough game. The night like Birmingham played well, but very dirty. Willock, Asula, and Tonali played well, but Tino and Longy struggled throughout. I was disappointed in Tino, Christopher. I must admit, he didn't look like he fancied that at all. Mark had said that to me. He just didn't like the battle, didn't like the aggression. And that's a worry for Tino. He needs to get stuck into that. I mean, Lewis Hall, I think, would have done a lot better, and he has done a lot better this season. Tino's gone missing a little bit. Still a young player. He's going to have up and downs, but yeah, I was disappointed with Tino tonight. Nice little breaks going forward. Defensively, I thought he was a little bit soft. Cushy saying Byrne's done something to his groin, Eddie said. Oh, God, let's hope it's not a bad one then, Cushy. At least we've got Botman back, I suppose, which is a good one. Kev says, please, can we not have Bournemouth? Absolutely. I don't want Bournemouth at all in the cup because Bournemouth are a really good side. But yeah, I was really impressed in terms of the performances. My man of the match has got to be Joe Willock, to be fair. He's got 2 goals there. He's been involved in the third as well. He looked a lot more like the Joe Willock that we know and love. He gets a yellow card, which I still don't really know what for. But in terms of his stats of the game, he got 4 out of his 6 dribbles was successful. He obviously gets 2 goals, 3 shots on target, 69% passing accuracy, but that wasn't really what his game was all about tonight. He won 7 of his 15 ground duels, putting a tackle as well. And I just thought he was excellent. I thought he was everywhere. He was up and down the park. He was giving them trouble. He was, he was taking the ball as a leader of this team. He was showing his seniority when there was younger players on the park. Something I didn't really think Sean did a great deal. Yes, Sean's involved in 2 of the goals as well. So technically, if you look at it on paper, you could say Sean's had a decent game. I mean, he gets a higher score on SofaScore than Willock does, which is why than Miley does, which is why SofaScore can be a little bit, up and down really in terms of the the reading of the performances and stuff. But again, Will Asula again tonight, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Just looking at some of his stats as well. 88% passing accuracy from Will Asula, 3 key passes, 2 assists. They've got him down as well. That one, they hit him. And then went back. He won 12 of his 20 ground duels. He won 2 of his 4 aerial duels as well. And again, he was up and down that pitch like nobody's business whatsoever. He was absolutely class. He really, really was. So who got a comment here from this is Omar Sadiq. Great show, love it. Can you shout for my son Cameron? He loves Sonic and Newcastle United. Well, there you go, Omar. I've just shouted out Cameron. So my daughter loves Sonic as well, mate. So happy days. And Newcastle United. She's not too keen on that, but she loves Sonic, mate. So there you go. Hopefully your son's enjoyed that. But just be careful if he's watching me in case I say the odd fruity word. He might repeat that. He might get in trouble. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the game itself, we were lucky not to get serious injuries. Mark had said that to me as well just before we come on. He said that you're very welcome, Omar. You're very welcome, mate. He said that we're really lucky with some of the challenges that the ref were letting go, that nobody was seriously hurt. We made some good changes. I think take Wilson off at the time we took him off was the right time. It was a 55 minutes for Jacob Murphy, when Jacob come on and did his usual stint, running up and down the park, stretching the play, had a couple of nice little chances as well. Murphy's used to playing those types of games as well. Murphy's he's a player that can play lower league games like that, where it gets a bit ugly and spiky and dirty. Murphy's all right in those games. Other players might go missing those games, might get a little bit rattled, but I think Murphy was excellent in that game when he come on as well, to be fair. And again, with Louis, I was impressed with Louis Miley. It wasn't the scoring from 20 yards game that he had against Bromley in the last round, but it was a different type of game, and he got through it all right. I thought he was better than Longstaff, to be fair, even though Longstaff has an involvement in 2 of the goals, which is probably why it gets a higher score. Nick Pope, again, good to see Pope back. Made a couple of really good saves. That one with his foot was excellent towards the end, when it was all just ricocheting around in the box as well. In terms of their players, I thought Anderson was excellent for them as well. Keshi Anderson, he was up and down. Looking at his stats there as well, he had a really, really good game, really strong game for them. 88% passing accuracy, free transfer he was as well, believe it or not. And Stansfield was decent. I think he started to lose it a little bit when he was maybe concentrating more on winding up the defence than he was, getting his movement right in the box, because there's a decent player in there. I think he'll score loads of goals to get them up. I think Birmingham should go up with that team. I think they look a decent side. Obviously top of League One, so they've got a good chance in coming up. I think their fans would have really enjoyed that game. Would have been a taste of the big time again, playing against Premier League opposition, top 6 Premier League opposition. But thank God Newcastle did enough just to get that over the line as well. Chibbers is saying, I don't know how the ref let their tackling go. He must have been a failed footballer. God, I wouldn't say that last bit, Chibbers, my days. Maybe that did happen. Maybe that's why he was upset. Maybe he reckoned a Newcastle player reminded him of the milkman, and that's exactly why he didn't give us any free kicks at all. But that game had cup giant killing written all over it, didn't it? Dodgy referee, they go in front really early on. The atmosphere's, up and loud. But for the lads to manage that atmosphere with 9 changes to that team, we've all talked about the thinness of squad depth and the worry if we have injuries to senior players, but that was a little reminder that maybe some of these backup players have a little bit of something to give. Yes, I appreciate it is Birmingham in the FA Cup. It's not, a Premier League side or a Championship side even, but it's good to see that the players can put it in, work hard, roll their sleeves up and graft, and then even seeing Willisula out on the right-hand side as well shows to me that, he has got something that he can offer, even as maybe an option on the right-hand side if Murphy's either off form or, dare I say, God forbid, injured. So, yeah, that was good to see, really good to see. But, yeah, a real bruising win by the lads tonight. Glad they got it done. And credit to Birmingham. I think they worked their arses off. They really worked hard. In terms of some of their players, though, I mean, Lyndon Dykes, right? I mean, obviously, because I support the Scottish national team, Lyndon Dykes is one of the worst footballers I've ever seen in my life. And he come on for Birmingham City. I'm going to actually look at his stats because he was so crap. I don't even know what he did. What did he do, right? He played 13 minutes, right? He had no shots on target, a 60% passing accuracy, 11 touches, and he just awful. Lost the ball 3 times. He fouled somebody. Just a dreadful, dreadful footballer. And he looks like he belongs on like the G wing or something of Strange Ways. All these tattoos and that. He thinks he's some kind of bad guy from Taken or something. I was waiting for Liam Neeson to come on and twist his arm on the back of his head and slap him around the head or something like that. He's a shit footballer. Dreadful, absolutely awful footballer. And Grant Handley, do you remember Grant Handley when he played for us? The man with the biggest head in the world. How on earth is he still playing football? But thank God neither one of those 2 shithouses managed to get the equaliser and take it to pens and dump us out of the FA Cup. So we'll find out soon enough who we've got in the next round. I hope it isn't a big boy, but do you know what? We had it in the Carabao Cup, so why not? If it is what it is, it'll be what it'll be. Al says an ugly win is an ugly win, but it doesn't do your nerves any good. Absolutely. Very different game for Wednesday, Al. MFS is saying, IGK, what is it with us conceding sloppy goals in the first 15 minutes? I don't know. Maybe it's a concentration thing. Maybe the lads are just getting a little bit, have to find the rhythm of their game, possibly. I don't know. But yeah, it was a bit concerning. But the fact that we got back, to me, is a good thing. Is a good thing that they've done that. New Zealand Bob is saying, Sky commentator, same number of fouls. The ref did well. Oh my God, I wasn't watching that link, mate, because we're on the BBC over here. But yeah, absolutely abysmal. I thought the referee was absolutely dreadful. Paul is saying, just watching the stream from the start, so I don't know what's been said, but Longstaff couldn't get in the Birmingham team. Yeah, again, it's really hard to defend Sean Longstaff when you see performances like that. You know, he's just, because he just doesn't look like he's bothered. He's kind of Mirandering around the pitch. He's not even breaking into a jog half the time. I mean, you look at his stats and SOFA score, 84% passing accuracy, but that probably disguises it a little bit because he's only passing little 3-yard passes to people. You'd have to be absolutely terrible, to get that through. He's won 4 of his 9 ground duels and none of his aerial duels. He's lost the ball 11 times, and in 57 touches in 90 minutes of football. I'm not entirely sure that's a great performance from a 27-year-old over 200 appearance player. I think Louis Miley is a much better player, and I've said that all along. And Anderson was a better player, and I still can't believe we're in a Newcastle United where Elliot Anderson is gone and Sean is still here. But you have to ask people higher up in the club about that, not me. Richard T saying Usala's his man of the match. Loved him out wide. I thought he was mint. He was absolutely mint out wide. If he just got his head up and crossed the ball. He did try a cross at one point, nearly hit the corner flag, to be fair, but he is a striker and a raw striker at that. But I thought he did really well on the right-hand side. Dr. Dill, 25, that was a huge game for Willock's confidence. I'm buzzing from. Me too, mate. I hope that does give Willock a bit of a shot of confidence because with Joe Linton missing, that midfield berth is up for grabs. I said that in the preview. You've got, Joe Willock, Louis Miley and Sean Longstaff all basically having an open-air audition to take Joe Linton's third space in midfield. Sean's woefully came up short. Willock's got his 2 goals there and an assist. Well, get involved in the other goal. And Louis Miley, I think, has had a good game, passing well, getting stuck in when things were getting a little bit messy, a little bit dirty. Louis Miley didn't go hiding. So I think those two didn't disgrace themselves, but Sean's just showed his way down the pecking order for me. John's saying double Wembley. Steady, John. Steady, Joe. Well, we don't want to get too greedy. And then Chipper says League and FA Cup double is on. Oh, my God. Could you imagine the meltdown if Newcastle actually won 2 cups? Could you imagine the salty fans crying their eyes out over it? It would be absolutely hilarious. It really, really would. Kev is saying, Howe loves Longstaff way too much. If it was any other manager, Longstaff would be out the door in an instant. Now, I don't want to make Sean a scapegoat. But like I say, when he plays like that, it is hard to defend him, because no matter what you say about Burns' footballing ability, his touch, his pace, his movement, that kind of a thing, Burn never shies away. He always digs deep. He always throws himself in front of anything that's going. Sean doesn't seem to do that. And then his footballing ability when we have the ball is also a little bit suspect as well. So I just don't know what's going on with Sean. He's a confidence player as well. He probably needs to start and have a run of games, and then you start seeing the best of Sean Longstaff, but he's not good enough to oust any of those 3 from that starting lineup. So when he has his opportunity, he really should take it. And he hasn't taken it today. And Tino the same. Tino the same as well. John saying 2 cups or top 4. 1 cup and top 4, John. There you go. I'm going to cheat and give you a different answer there, mate. Absolutely. Kev says Byrne is a character. He is a character, Kev, but he's also a really hard-working player as well that does give us a lot defensively. So I will give Byrne a bit of credit. My only gripe with Byrne was when he played left-back because his lack of pace was just getting exposed all of the time. Chippers is saying that Byrne was flat in the first half. I mean, he's had a lot of football, Chippers, as well, to be fair. And he's, 33 now or 32, Byrne? So he is getting on a fair stretch. So, but again, that's the problem when you have a weak squad. I was disappointed not to see young Neve come on, I must admit. 16 years old on the bench, scoring loads of goals for the reserves. I would really have liked to have seen Sean Neve get just a little couple of minutes. When he brought Isaac on, I shit myself because I was expecting one of them Birmingham centre-halves to go right through the back of Isaac and snap his fibula or something. So I'm really glad that didn't happen, to be fair. Paul is saying, hi, Chris, why not 2 cups and 3rd this season? Have you got another bet on, Paul? I know you did well when we finished 4th that season. I hope you do, because when you bet, we normally finish up there. Kev saying Bruno's too inconsistent for me right now. Anybody agree? I mean, it's hard in that game, Kev, again, because he's had loads of football, but Sandro was definitely way, way ahead of him. I mean, the way Louis Miley's progressing for me, those midfielders need to watch that back, because I think the lad, is a couple of goals and an assist away from really kicking up another level. If I was those 3 players, I'd be very, very careful about how poor I'm performing, because this kid's snapping at the heels. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. Comment there from Richard. Kraft the machine goes into the team. Great ease, cool hero. I love Kraft. I really do. He never lets you down. He's just so steady, isn't he? What did he do? Look at his stats just before we sign off tonight. 90% passing accuracy, 2 clearances, 2 tackles. Just steady away. steady at 71 touches in 90 minutes, more than Joe Longstaff in midfield. That tells a story, doesn't it? But yeah, Kraft never lets you down. Like, he's a good utility player. He can play right back, he can play centre half, and he can put as equally a good a shift in. He had some rotten tackles put on him as well by some of those Birmingham players, and massive respect to Kraft just for getting up and getting on with the injuries he's had as well. He could have shirked out challenges, didn't do it at all, got stuck right in. So big fan of Kraft, mate, big fan. David said, I'd rather get Isaac Hayden back than play Longstaff. He couldn't trap a disabled sloth. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, Sean does get stick when he puts in performances like this. And that, he's only got himself to blame on those ones, but criticize his performance, don't abuse him. You know, I don't agree with that kind of shit. When people do that on social media, it's absolutely abhorrent. So don't do that. You know, but you know, he has to take his opportunities when they come, Sean. He really, really has to. As John says, Byrne gives 100%. Longstaff gives 30. Certainly in those games, he doesn't look like he's putting it in. But we won the game, so I suppose it doesn't matter in hindsight. But yeah, you want a better performance like that from Sean, don't you, to be fair? Kev saying that Wilson didn't get injured after 10 minutes this time. Whoop-de-doo, exactly, mate. But a great finish as well from Wilson. He looks sharp. He hasn't like he's lost that sharpness as well. We'll need that, you know, in games, you know, when Isaac's maybe not finding the net or getting frustrated. If we've got Callum to come off the bench and just be a little bit different, maybe he can get us a point, get us a win when we need it. And that's the whole point of having a player like Callum Wilson in the squad to do that. But he just needs to stay fit, which is a huge if, which is a real big question, really, and a question I can't answer because, you know, Callum Wilson's not been able to answer that question for the last, how many years? First FA Cup game in 4 years. That tells you about his fitness record. Stephen says, Bruno is brilliant, for fuck's sake. Sheer charisma, often carries us with sheer force, who has a peerless 90 minutes. He's not infallible, but he's our captain. He loves the club. He's not a boy. Yeah, I mean, Bruno was all right in spells, Stephen. I think it's just too much football. I think because Bruno leaves it all out in the park, he just burns out. But it was clever from Eddie to rotate both Tonali and Bruno tonight. And Tonali gave you something different when he come on as well, you know, and I thought he was excellent when he came on as well. David is saying he would never abuse Sean as a person, but he was shite tonight as a footballer. Well, fair play, David. You're entitled to that opinion, mate. We don't stop people having opinions on players on this, and I'm glad you keep it above the belt, mate. Gigant at Wembley says the Solar reminds me of Chris Waddle on the right wing. Bloody hell, if he was half the player, mate, we'll be happy with that, I tell you what. Steve Ingram says Miley was his man of the match. Well, fair shout, mate. I thought Louis was good. I say he didn't do anything, you know, like he did against Bromley, scoring from 20 yards and everything else, but a good performance from him in a really dirty, ugly game. You know, a lot of people are worried about Miley's fragility and can he get stuck into games like that? You know, will he get scared with these big bad bullies kicking him? Didn't look scared tonight. Got stuck in, got involved, played the full game. Thought he was excellent. So I think a lot of those people who are worried about poor little Louis Miley, look at the size of the kid. He's filled out over the summer. He's 6'2" and he's built like a brick shithouse. And he's flying into tackles and getting up and being absolutely fine. So, you know, I think when you stop mollycoddling Louis Miley and start thinking about him as a man, because that's what he is, and he can play in games like that. And he can play in games where he gets more time and space on the ball, where his quality and his technical ability can shine through. You know, so for me, I think he showed another side of him there, Louis, tonight. Rabbitnon says he managed to cripple someone. It's a 50-50 there, Rabbitnon. He had to go for that. I'd have been annoyed if he didn't go for it. Again, some of the senior players bottle tackles like that, which I didn't like at all, to be fair. And I'm sure that Eddie won't be too pleased with that, and certainly Tyndall won't be too pleased with that at all, because I can imagine that's the kind of game he wants to play. But I think that's us pretty much wrapped up tonight, guys. Just a quick one, because it is late. We've all got stuff to do, but we're also going to be looking forward to the next round of the FA Cup, because Newcastle United have won tonight in a proper cup tie. They managed to get through, no injuries, despite countless acts of ABH from Birmingham City. Good luck to them this season. I think if they play like that in League One, they'll get back up to the Championship, and they'll be trying to get back to the Premier League with it and play games like this more regular. So thank you to all the Birmingham City fans who were awesome in the previews, and those who didn't like it, well, toodaloo, and enjoy your night. You're out of the cup. So thanks for watching, everybody. Remember, like and subscribe. Have a belter. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.